Welcome to Crackit YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss the tricky interview questions that's often asked in the collections framework. Let's discuss about the questions. So, the question is how to make array list read only. If the interviewer want to ask you a straightforward question, the question will be like this. But if the interviewer want to ask you a question with a little twist, the question will be like, you have a list and you want to pass it to a method, but you don't want that method to change the value of the array list. What will you do in that case? So the answer is the collections.addModifiable list method. So arrayList can easily be converted to a read-only list using collections.addModifiable list of method. This method takes list as an input and list as the output. What is the difference? The input parameter is a modifiable list and the returned list is an unmodifiable list. So what will happen after the list becomes unmodifiable? If we try to make changes to the unmodifiable list, then Java will throw unsupported exception. Let's see this with an example. We have an array list here and we have two values and we are converting that list to an unmodifiable list. In this line, we are trying to add a string value to the list and it is throwing unsupported operation exception as expected. How do you convert arrays to array lists? There are many ways in which we can convert arrays to array list. One is using arrays.asList method. This arrays.asList method takes array as an input and returns as a list. This method will return a fixed size list that is backed by an array. What does that mean? We couldn't be able to add more elements because the returned list is of the fixed size. So if we try to add more elements, it will throw unsupported operation exception. We can see with this example, we have an array, string array, and we are trying to convert it to a list using arrays.asList of. And if we try to add one more element, it is throwing unsupported operation exception. But how can we avoid it? This can be fixed by creating an array list using the new keyword, new array list of, and pass array as an argument to this arrays.asList method. In this case, even if we add element, it will not throw unsupported operation exception. Another way is to use collections.addAll method. We have a method called addAll in the collections class which accepts collection as the first parameter, the elements to be inserted, and the second, the array parameter. This method will return true on successful changed collection and false on the exception scenarios. So in this example, if we see, we have a string array and we are converting that to a list using the collections.addAll method. Other way to convert arrays to array list is by manually iterating through the arrays and adding each of its elements to the array list as shown in this example. Next is a very common interview question. What is a linked list and what are its features? A linked list is a linear data structure. It is a chain of nodes and each node is a different element. Linked lists are not stored in continuous location, unlike arrays. It is a dynamic memory allocation and each node in the linked list has a data and a pointer to the next node. That is why continuous is not required. Also, it has a head pointer and it points to the first element of the list if it has values, and if it is empty, it points to null. Insertion and deletion of elements are simpler than arrays. Why? Because no element shifting is required. We will just update the address of the next node in the next pointer. We can implement data structures like stack, queue, graph, hash maps very easily using this linked list. In a real-time scenario, where will we use a linked list? For example, if we save our contacts in a mobile phones, that requires alphabetical order. So in this type of cases, we need to use linked list as a data structure. What are the types of the linked list? Singly linked list, doubly linked list, and the circular linked list. Singly linked list is nothing but the traversal of elements is only in the forward direction. Doubly linked list, traversal of elements is both the forward and the backward direction. Circular linked list, first and the last nodes are connected to form a circle. There will be no value at the end. Very common question in the interviews these days is difference between the array list and the linked list. So let's see the differences here. ArrayList stores its elements in a continuous fashion, and so it requires continuous memory allocation. But for the linked list, continuous memory is not required. Why? Because the next pointer of the node has the information about the next location. Manipulation of ArrayList takes more time. Suppose if we need to remove an element from the middle or the second element of the array, all the elements after that needs to be traversed one position before, which will take some time. But manipulation of linked list is easier because just the reference in the next pointer needs to get changed. Insertions and deletions are slow due to traversal in the array list. But in case of the linked list, insertions and deletions are fast. ArrayList is best for the search operations or data accesses. Why? Because arrays are random access elements. But linked list is not random access. Data accesses is really slow. In terms of memory, ArrayList requires very less memory. But linked list requires more memory because it has to save not only the data but also the previous and the next pointers. ArrayList is an implementation of list interface, whereas the linked list is an implementation of list and the DQ interfaces. Thanks for watching Crack It. Please subscribe for more interview questions.